Hey everyone, so in this video I want to show you how to deploy your full stack application on the DigitalOcean Droplets using Docker, GitHub Actions and ChatGPT. And in this tutorial I will be using Node.js and React.js, but if you're coding in some other framework, language or library, don't worry, just write the Dockerfile for it and you can skip to the part of this video where I start writing pipelines, so you will still find this video very helpful. So let's get started. As you can see, here I have the client and the server folders. Like I really like to separate the backend and the frontend like that in the repository. So in the folder, I have this very basic Node.js code. And in the client, I have this also very basic React.js code. So before I jump into writing the Docker files, I will just quickly demonstrate to you what is this application, what it does. So let's run the client, then run the, okay, no, I don't have dev, let's run the server like this. Okay, so as you can see here, we have this very basic frontend, and this number comes from our database, and I will show you this database is Prisma model. So we have this record called test, and we have the ID and the number. And in the backend, we have two routes. By this, we are just getting the number, and by this, we are just incrementing. So here we are getting the number, and if we click the increment, we are incrementing it and then fetching it again. I know it's not very best practice, because when you update something, you want the updated value to be returned, so we won't have to fetch the number again, but for this example that's okay. So now that you know how it works, and before going into writing Dockerfile, I will also tell you this. So what I will be doing here is, so I will be deploying only one container. And what do I mean? So I will be, like the Dockerfile will be building this client folder, and then the backend will serve this built frontend. So we will only deploy Express. You can also deploy frontend separately and deploy backend separately. It doesn't matter. But in this video, I'm just deploying one container, Express.js container, which is also serving frontend. So as you can see here, I have the public folder, which contains the built frontend files, and from the server TES, this is how it's served. So this is the frontend port, but if I go to the Express.js port without any root in the main path, you can see we also have here the frontend, because it's serving the static HTML file. And that's what we will do here. So let's create the Docker file. And so in the Docker file, we will need to do two steps. First, we would need to build the client and copy the build folder into the container. And then we would have to build the backend, install dependencies, building everything, and just run it. But before I start writing it, I have to go to ChatGPT, because I have no idea how to write Docker files from scratch. So I have and by this you also can see how I'm using ChatGPT in my daily developer's life and how you can implement that too. I have to specify the languages, library, sorry, React and Node. So I want you to write my Dockerfile. File will be in your directory. That will build Node.js and also will build React.js and copy its build folder in the Node.js. Let's see. Just write me a code. I don't want the explanations. Okay. We have the code. And let me go through it. So I just hate seeing these green comments here, so I'm removing it. Port we want 5000. Okay, so let's start. So at first it's building client, node 14, boom, npm install client, do this. Okay, npm build. Let's use the latest version of the node for the Node.js. App server, npm install from build. And I will also replace this build file with the dist, because you can see here when you build the white.js, the build folder name is dist. And npm start. I will also do run npx Prisma generate, because do you remember that we have the Prisma here to interact with the PostgreSQL database? So we have to generate the Prisma client, and I will run the build script, and I will show you why and tell you why. So we have the TypeScript Node.js, right? So in order to run the server, first I am compiling the TypeScript files into JavaScript. And then with the start, I'm running directly JavaScript file. Like I could add like TS like this, like TS node server TS, but I don't like it because it's taking up much larger memory than running just JavaScript files. Okay, so first we are building it, and then we are running pure JavaScript file. So I think everything should be okay here. So let's build it. Let's build it and see. Docker build. Okay, I like specifying it. And the name full stack droplet. And here, boom. Let's see. Most of the times I get the error on the first build of the Dockerfile, but here let's see. Maybe the good luck will find us. And by the way, I also have no idea what to write in the pipelines of the GitHub Actions, so I will also use the ChatGPT for it. Okay, error, of course. Specify type package names to be included without being referenced in the source file. Images. You can learn. Okay, let's see what the error is. So error is from here. If I try just build from the terminal, it works. Okay, but it doesn't work from the Dockerfile. What the hell is that? TSC, TypeScript compiler. Okay guys, so after some time of investigating and debugging it, I found out that after doing npm install and before generating Prisma and before building, I had to copy server like this. So now if I run the build, it should work. Okay, and now what we will do after the build is finished is we will run the container. I will also inspect inside the folder of the container of like how are the things copied there and how is the file structure there. And we will check if the container works. And then if everything is good, we will deploy it, we will push it to the GitHub, and then we will set up the GitHub Actions to deploy it to the DigitalOcean's Droplet. Okay, so the build is successful. Now let's check the image. So full stack droplet, latest 9 seconds ago. That's what we want. And let's run it. So docker run. Okay, if I'm getting this right, it should be, let's stop this first. It should be like this, network host, so it can connect to the database. Let's also say the name, which should be full stack droplet, and anything else, I don't think so. So full stack droplet, let's go. Okay, server is running. And now if I do docker ps, I can see here full stack droplet. So let's go into it. By the way, let's go into it from the other terminal. Okay, so docker exec it full stack droplet sh. Okay, we are in the server. So as we can see, the main folder that is being served in the container is app server. If I do ls, I can see the JSTS files, and I also can see this public folder. And if I go to the public, I see the index.html. Okay, so let's check if the frontend is being served, and it is. It is served. And you can also see, I can also fetch the database from the inside of the container, and if you increment, it works. So right now, now we have Dockerfile ready. The container is working, and now we have to push the code to the GitHub, set up the GitHub Actions, also create the droplet in the DigitalOcean, and write the pipeline. Write the pipeline script. Okay, so I will just delete the JS files because they are build files. Let's add this, create Dockerfile. So now I don't have a repository for it on GitHub, and I will create it. Let's call it full stack droplet public create. And let's push existing code. Okay, let's just check it. Good. But first let me close all these tabs. I hate when I have the lots of tabs open, and I see I think all of the developers, like 99% of developers, if you see their browsers, they have 20, 30, fucking 40 tabs open, and if you ask them why, they will tell you that, oh, I need all of them. It's fucking bullshit. They don't need any of them. How the fuck can you track of which tab has what if you have 40 tabs open and each size of the tab is like this? Because there are too much of them which can't fit in the this width. So bullshit. We don't want this. We want this. We don't want YouTube. We don't want another ChatGPT. Okay, now we want pipelines. Again, my dear ChatGPT. GitHub Actions for that will build the Dockerfile and push it to the Docker Hub. And while the ChatGPT is giving us the answer, what I will do is create the repository or my Docker Hub account where we will push that image. Create repository, full stack droplet. Let it be public, doesn't matter. Okay, now we have the repository here. Move back to ChatGPT. Nice. Okay, so I have to create this folder. GitHub, then workflows. Docker build push YML. Let's do it. And first we will do just build and push, and we will check if it works, and then we will move to like actually deploying it to the droplet. Okay, so let's copy this code. We can read and check it later. So our branch is master, so I will rename it. Then image name, replace with your Docker Hub image name. Okay, our image name is my name, and full stack droplet, if it's correct. Full stack droplet, yes. Then Ubuntu latest, secrets, okay, username. Okay, so now what we'll have to is we have to add this secret environment to the GitHub. So let's go to the settings. Then we have here secrets and variables, actions, new repository secrets. And yeah, I will be adding those two variables, and I will get back to you. All right, so as you can see, I have added the secrets here, which is Docker Hub token and Docker Hub username, which is used here to log in, to actually log into the Docker and push the image. So I will commit it. And push it, and let's see the GitHub actions at work. Okay, now code. Let's go to GitHub actions, and the pipeline is running. And let's inspect it. And it failed. Of course, I'm not surprised. So what's the error? Error during the build. Rollup failed to resolve import. Okay, so it has something to do with white SVG. Which I don't use. I don't think like we don't need it. About this, okay, so public white SVG. Okay, you know what? I will just remove it from here and remove this white logo at all, because for this tutorial we don't need it, so it will be okay. But yeah, it's strange because locally the Docker build succeeded, but yeah, whatever. Remove white SVG import, and let's push. And we can wait for the pipeline again. And it succeeded. Fuck yeah. Okay, now I'll just check it from the Docker Hub that the repository is indeed updated and is pushed. So, okay, as you can see, last pushed a few seconds ago, and this GitHub actions pushed it. So now we have the actions to push it to the Docker Hub, and we need now is DigitalOcean Droplet. So I'll go into there and first create the droplet. So new project, full stack droplet. Purpose. What is our purpose? Doesn't matter. I'll delete it afterward. So move resources, skip for now. Okay, so now let's create the droplet. I'll choose the Frankfurt because I'm closer. Ubuntu, blah blah blah, blah blah, regular. For the demonstration purposes, I'll take 6. Then I will destroy it immediately. SSH key. I'll use my main key, and yeah, you can take a look at it. It's public, so nothing will happen. And yeah, create it. Okay, so in the meantime it's created. Actually, we can now ask ChatGPT to write a script for us that will go into this cloud, into SSH it, into that cloud server, pull the Docker image, like this new Docker image that was pushed before, and run it. Okay, okay, our droplet is also ready, as you can see, and ChatGPT is giving us the answers. So here you can see jobs like build and push, and this is the job we have, build and push, and now it added another job, which is deploy to droplet. Let's just copy it. Okay, so needs build and push, runs on latest. I'm just checking it here so that everything is okay. SSH host, SSH private key, SSH port, pull, okay, stopping. Okay, so what I will do now is I will add these secret variables into the GitHub. And once I do it, and once we run the actions, I will go through these scripts and tell you what they each do. So let's go to the GitHub secret variables. And yeah, once again, when I finish filling these secrets, I'll get back to you. Okay, as you can see, I have added the variables here, and I will tell you what each means. So the droplet SSH host is the IP address where this droplet is hosted. So this one, so you can basically copy it. Then we have droplet SSH port, which is 22. It's default, so just enter 22. Then we have droplet SSH private key. So this is the private key of your personal SSH key, which you will use to log into the server. So do you remember when we created the droplet here? We have specified which key to choose for the authentication method. So my SSH key is already added here. So this is the public key that you can see here, but I also have my private key on my laptop. So I added my private key here. And then we have droplet SSH username. And for the DigitalOcean droplets, the username is root. So if you go to access, you can see login as root. So I just added root. And yes, I think that's it. I'll just modify a bit here. So we want to host it on port 5000. Your container name. So let's name the container just server. And also let's say network host. So what's happening here now, I will explain in steps. So first, Docker pool and image name. What it does is the server goes to Docker and it pulls the newly updated image, which we previously have built and pushed to the Docker Hub in these steps. So after this command, now we have the updated project code. Then we are stopping the previous container, the old version, and removing that old version's container, and then we are running a new, fresh new container. Okay, of the port 5000, and yeah, with some other options. And I won't go into too much details because obviously this is not a Docker tutorial. So let's commit it and build. And as always, it failed. Let's see why. Docker command not found. Of course, yes. So first, like when we created the droplet, we forgot to install the Docker on it. So I will SSH into the droplet and install the Docker. So do you remember when I said that the username was root, and I'm also using it to log in it. So we are inside, and now we want to install Docker. Install Docker on Ubuntu, because our droplet is Ubuntu 22.04. Let's just copy the commands. And by the way, I have like no clue, no idea whatsoever what are these comments are doing in specific details, but I also don't care, right? And I don't think you should also care too, because like for now we have a problem to solve. Like we want to deploy our application to the droplet, and for now just digging deep into that kind of stuff will be a waste of time. Of course, after you solve the problem, like you can like learn everything you want on it, but for now it's wasting of time. And when it pops up, I'm just clicking enter, pressing enter. All right, the Docker is running. We have successfully installed it. And yeah, I think now we can rerun the job. But to be honest, I don't know if I can run. Oh, yeah, okay, I can. Never mind. Oh, fuck. I should have. Oh no, it's running all this. Great. Now we can wait and see if it succeeds. And it doesn't. Why? Okay, no such container server. Fair enough. Fair enough. So, do you remember when I said that here when we do docker stop, docker run, here we are stopping and removing the existing outdated old version of this project. But like it's the first deploy, right? So there is no such thing as that kind of container. So at first what we can do is, I don't know, to be honest, I don't know if there is a script of Docker that, wait, let me check. Let me ask ChatGPT. The first deployment, there is no such container as server. How can I? What's the word when you are avoiding some problem? Workaround. Okay. Work around this issue. Whoa, what did it do? It didn't do anything here, did it? Pull stuff. If the container doesn't exist, the docker stop and docker variable will send in 0. You can use the operator to ignore the failure. Oh, yeah, but we are using it. There might be other factors. No. Okay, what we can do here, we can just run some demo server. Okay, so what I will do here is at first deployment, I will just remove this script so it can only create the container, and after it I will just first deployment will be like this, and then I will get it back. But we also forgot something here. We want to log in Docker. But do we? No, I don't think we have to, because the repository is public. So that's why I don't think we need to log in. So no. So yeah, let's remove this for now, and then we can, okay, we'll do it now. So, but before we actually do it, I also forgot, let me restart it. I also forgot to run the database, because we have to have the database running in there, right? But we don't. So I forget the command to use to deploy the PostgreSQL container in the Docker. So I have this repository here where I have written some, like, you know, code snippets, comments, and in this Prisma folder I have this. So I will just run this. Call it Postgres secret. Okay, let's make it secret and run it. And also, before I push it, what I will also do is we need the environmental variable file, right? So we can tell the Prisma the database URL. So I'll also create the env file inside this droplet, and put it in, but update the password because our password was secret. Okay, secret. And we have to modify this script so it can run this and also take the environmental variables from that local file. I don't know how to do that, so let's ask him. Okay, and file, good. Guys, see, like I had no idea how to write pipelines. I have no stuff remembered on like how to write these YML files or GitHub Actions or stuff like that. I just asked ChatGPT and like we have this whole pipeline thing going on already here. So yeah, definitely try to use ChatGPT in your daily life. And we want to copy this. Let's make it here. And file path to your end file is this. Because pvd root. Okay, let's do this. Root and okay, now it looks good. And by the way, what I can do is I can run another like a test database as the name of the server. No, it's Postgres. Postgres is here, but the container name is actually here. So server port is already allocated, of course. Doesn't matter what port I give in as long as it's not 5432. And we have to remove the name. By the way, okay, it's still good because now you can see that we have already the container called server, and the GitHub Actions won't throw an error on this anymore because we have the server container, so it will remove it and then create the new server, which will be our full stack project. So here we look good. Here I will commit it and file in Docker run. Looks good. Push and wait for the GitHub Actions, and I hope this time it succeeds, because we also have left the Nginx thing to configure inside the droplet. And this motherfucker failed one more time. Docker run requires at least one argument. Okay, we fucked something up in the command itself. Docker run requires at least one argument. Something is wrong there. Yes, the command you provide looks great. Wait, no. This is my command. Oh, where is it? Here. Oh, wait, no, pool. There's a problem in the pool here. Image name. In the image name we have, I think, oh, maybe it's not, it can't read, but the end file is declared globally. Let's ask him. Yeah, sometimes ChatGPT is fucking pain in the ass, so I will specify my question. Not here. Fuck this tab. Okay, so it seems the workflow is unable to read the environmental variable image name. True. Explicitly setting the environmental. Oh, well, we can try it. Let's try it. Let's try. Okay, once again, we have to wait for the pipeline to succeed. Oh, what the fuck? The workflow is not valid. Unrecognized name. Okay, so now ChatGPT fucked us up here. So what I will do, what I can do here. What if I just use like, let's get rid of it. And just use like this, because we don't have time to waste on this, right? We are looking to solve a completely different problem here, and we are wasting our time on something else. So okay, let's wait. Okay, so as you can see, it didn't error. Fuck yes. Nice. All right. Now what we can do now is actually log into the droplet and check from the inside how are the things going. So we have the server and we have the Postgres. Okay, so now what do we have to do here? Let's check the logs of the server. Server running on port 5000. Nice, so it's working. It's working very, very good. And now let's check if the frontend is being served, and it is, because I made the row request to the localhost 5000 on which our server is running. So here is the HTML of the frontend, because you can see here public, this is the code which is seen here. Okay, so actually now if we go to that IP and 5000, we can see our application. Okay, but the problem is you can see the 0 here, and if we do the increment, it errors. So, and I know why, and let's solve it. Well, first let's see the logs of the server once again to check the error, and we have no error there. So what we have to do now is do remember when we just initialized this Postgres database, right? And we have not actually migrated, we have not written any data there, which we have to do from the server. Okay, so we have this seed file here, and these models, this Prisma schema, which we have to migrate to that database. So let's do that. Let's go to the container, server sh, ls, and npx prisma migrate reset. I will do reset and not deployed, because when you do reset, the seed file is also automatically run. So this test case record will be created, so then we can test the database. So npx prisma migrate reset. All data will be lost. Yes. Error occurred. Okay, spawn ts node no end. Command failed. All right. I have not expected that, to be honest. But let's see why it hurt. Error occurred. Ts node. Do we have ts node in the package JSON? Ah, no, we don't. That's why it errored. That's why. So we have to install ts node. Okay. And also what I will change here is in the front end, I will change these URLs to this URL. Okay. So the front end can actually make requests to that link. Boom and boom. Do we have this localhost URL somewhere else also? No. Update endpoint URL in frontend. Push. And let's wait for the GitHub actions once again. And yep, it's successful as expected. But now the main thing is if we can migrate the database. So let's go inside of the server container once again and npx prisma migrate reset. All data will be lost. Yes. Run ts node prisma seed ts. Come on, come on, come on. Yes, motherfucker. That's it. The seed command has been executed. Now when I go to that front end, we should see number 1 here. Let's pray, guys, let's pray. And we don't, because number failed. What has failed? Error, connection refused. Of course, I forgot to specify the port 5000 here. Fuck. Let's do it. And I'll have to fucking wait for that for that pipeline to run again. So let's go. Endpoint URL frontend 5000. Yes, it should work now. Git push origin master. And by the way, before the GitHub Actions is running, we can actually check it from here. And we can see 1. Nice. So now I have the front end locally, but it's making requests to the application, to the backend in the droplet. So we can increment. You can see request URL is the IP address of our droplet, and nice. So I would say I'm pretty confident when it successes, when this action successes, it will work. Okay, so meanwhile it's in progress. What we want to do now is we want to set up the Nginx or Nginx. I have no idea how it's pronounced and I don't care. So to set it up, so when we just go to this URL without specifying any port, we see the front end. Okay, so let's do it. Our dear friend ChatGPT, I missed you. So okay, now it's giving us steps, so let's log into the droplet. So SAB, yeah, and this one word that I said was Georgian word. I said it instinctively. So sudo apt update. Nginx, yes. Then create Nginx configuration file for your application. Create, let's just, okay, I have no idea what it's asking, but I don't care. Create a new file with the name. Your app name, indeed, replace your app name. Okay, we can just leave it your app name. You just replace this with yours. Boom. And we have to copy it. So now we have to do some configurations here. Okay, so first we have to replace this domain name with the IP address because we don't have any domain names, and I will also won't do it in this video, but that's where it should be very easy. Like you just, I don't know, Google or search it on YouTube on how you can add domain to your full stack application that's hosted on cloud on virtual server. Then in location, proxy path, this is right. And I think that's it. Yeah. So as you can see, in the meanwhile, the Nginx has been already installed. So when I visited the root path, I can see the Nginx, which is very good. And is there any other steps? Okay, so let's do this. Let's save it. Boom. Then create a symbolic link to enable Nginx configuration. Let's do it. And I want to update the sites of the your app name because I have named it the same. So you would have to obviously change it to your app name if you have named it something else. Test the Nginx configuration for syntax errors. Let's do it. Test is successful, very good. And let's reload Nginx. Boom. And now, if I refresh this page, I should see our React.js. And I don't. Very bad. Okay, maybe it's cache. I don't know. Let me open it in the private window. Yeah, I still don't. Okay. Please make sure to replace and you're doing with the appropriate values for your application. Okay, let's see what's the matter. So we have this Docker PS. Okay, first let's check if our updated endpoint URLs in the frontend work. 3 increment. Okay, it works. So now the thing left is to redirect this 80 port to 5000. So I can just ask him, I still see default Nginx view on port 80. We'll just copy this comment. It's running. Your app name. Okay, that's what we want. Default your app name. If it's not there, create symbol and link. But it's there. That's the problem. Okay, we have to solve it somehow. Maybe I can check again this server name. Replace with your actual domain name or droplet IP address. That's correct. Location proxy pass localhost 5000. Okay, so I just added this dash here. Maybe it can work. I have no idea. It doesn't, of course, it doesn't. Browser cache, it's not the problem. Firewall, no. Your app name, maybe this has something to do with it. Server HTTP. Oh, maybe it doesn't need HTTP. Let's try this. Voila! Of course, I'm a fucking genius. It did not need HTTP. So guys, I think that's it. So what we have done, we have written the Dockerfile for the full stack application. We have written the GitHub actions, the pipelines code, and in the pipeline script we have set up everything there is needed to build the project on the push, deploy it to the Docker Hub, then SSH into the droplet and update the project. And then we also have implemented the Nginx to serve the frontend on the main 80 port. And as you can see, it's working very well. So now what you might want to do is to connect your domain to this, which I will not show you in this tutorial. And yeah, so yeah, another thing I wanted to show you. If you can check here, we have like the server running and also the database, right? So if I want to access this database from outside, let's open the dbeaver and try to access it. So add the new connection, PostgreSQL, copy the host. And I think the password was secret, test connection. So as you can see, externally we can connect to that database. And if we check the tables, we have the test table and the number, which is 11, and we can also see 11 here. So what you might want to do if you are like want to make this project advanced and make it to production or stuff like that, you might not want to like expose this database or even some API routes of the server, and you might want to make the front end accessible. And if someone wants to go to this, not this, sorry, here, like maybe you can restrict the access to the database from the outside and only allow it from the inside. You can do stuff like that. But For starters, I think we still did the great job to like build the full stack and then deploy it on the DigitalOcean Droplet. And yeah, that's it. So some final words, final sentences. The link to the GitHub code where this code will be hosted will be in the description. And yeah, if you have any questions, like if you have any error maybe that you have encountered, which I haven't, but I have encountered lots of errors, but if there is some error that you encountered which I haven't, write it in the comments. I will try my best to help you out. Also, if you want to have any questions regards to anything that I did in this video, feel free to like post them in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video, also make sure to like it, subscribe, and yeah. By the way, if you also want to like see more these type of the videos, also comment it and I will do it, because as you might know or might not know, like this is my actually first coding video that I did. So yeah, let me know your thoughts and see you in the next video.